All right. I think we are live, hopefully. Otherwise, I guess someone will tell me.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the release stream for Iberian Twilight for Victoria 2. 3. Oh my god.
Victoria 4?
I was going to say, wow.
Victoria
yeah,
2?
I was going to say Victoria patch 1.12, which apparently turned for Victoria 3, which apparently turned into Victoria 2 in my head. So, Victoria 2 mentioned.
Victoria 2 confirmed.
Yes. Anyway, I'm Martin. I am the game director. I am still around, despite rumors of having been cooed.
The rumors of your death have been greatly exaggerated. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm Lino. I'm the lead game designer on Victoria 3.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which apparently is confirmed now, since apparently we're just updating Victoria 2 all along.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, so we're going to show off a little bit about the 1.12 patch and the content for our new DLC, Victorian Iberian Twilight. I am not apparently fully awake just yet. It's been a little bit of a chaotic day, honestly, but everything should be fine. So I think you can go ahead and pop into the game for now.
Yeah, let's do it. So, like Martin said, we're not really gonna play the game today, right? But we're really just gonna show
exactly.
Some of the
We've had a couple of gameplay sessions before, and this stream is really just going to go on until we have confirmed that the patch and the DLC are out. And once they are, we'll drop out and let you guys play the game, because honestly, I think that's what you'll want to do instead of watching us talk more about it.
Exactly. And let us know about the sound settings, if there's something wrong with them, if the game is too loud or we're too loud or whatnot, then we can get this fixed.
Tell us.
Just so you know.
Yeah, so
all right.
I wanted to start actually, before we talk about a little bit the DLC, talk a little bit about the second half of this year, because it's been kind of an interesting time.
Yeah.
Some of you have made some memes about the fact that when we went into like 1.10 and 1.12, like these two last DLC and patches, we were like, oh yeah, the second half of this year is going to be lighter, we're going to focus on polish and bug fixing, and then we deploy a whole bunch of features which weren't really signaled, like
negotiations.
Negotiations, all the things related to discrimination and whatnot in National Awakening, a bunch of culture features, a whole bunch of things that weren't really exactly on the roadmap. So to explain how that happened, I'm gonna do a little bit of an analogy here. When you're like playing an RPG, you're following the main quest, and then you decide, actually, you know what? I just want to chill for a while. I'm going to go back to my house in game. I'm going to do some crafting. I'm going to maybe, just run around and explore a little bit. And then instead of doing that, you actually end up doing like 20 different side quests. I would say that's a pretty good summary of the second half of this year. It was the autumn and winter of side quests.
Yeah, exactly. And while many people were doing these side quests, for me, it was really very much, I would just follow the main line. I would just follow the main story, which you will get to see more of course, in the next year. But yeah, today we're talking about the side quests and the results from that, the loot we got, basically.
Yep. So let's go ahead. So speaking of that, let's start then by actually showing off a little bit about the free patch contains, and then we can talk about the content of the DLC.
All right.
And we'll be a little bit brief with the content of the DLC, because I think there is approximately 600 pages of dev diary to read if you really want the nitty-gritty, because we really could not keep our narrative designers under control.
Yeah, they cannot be stopped, as they appropriately put it. Yeah. All right, so what do we want to look at first? Maybe the politics side of things?
Let's look at negotiations and amendments.
Yeah.
We can start with amendments, I think.
Yeah.
And also, of course, as usual, if you have any questions about anything we're talking about or just the game in general, just ask. I'm monitoring the chat and I'll try to answer if I can.
Yeah, exactly. We have both YouTube and Twitch here up. And here, for example, this oligarchy starting law for Spain has some amendments that we can see here on the left.
And what are amendments?
So what are amendments? Amendments are, like the name suggests, amended to laws, like they are additions basically to laws that modify the law in question. So for example, here we can see the electoral clientelism gives some increased authority and reduced electoral confidence impact. Oh yeah, we were on whoopsie.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you can see it. So yeah, here on the left.
Chaotic stream is chaotic.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been a little bit of a day.
It's all a bit of a
There
haze.
we go.
Yeah. But yeah, here on the left you can see the amendments, and they can be added through various means. For example, another feature that we're doing, the negotiations, right, which we will talk about. They can, for example, add these amendments. In general, events that come from law enactment processes.
Yeah. And I would actually say the Chamber of Procurator is a really interesting amendment because it doesn't actually just like, it shows us a bunch of modifiers, but effectively what it does, it actually gives you an election system under oligarchy, which, normally you don't actually have elections under oligarchy, but with the Chamber of Procurators, you get an even more limited version of voting than you would get under, say, landed voting. So it's like you can have a little bit of elections as a treat, but, definitely only the right people get to vote.
Yeah, exactly. And these amendments can do all kinds of stuff. Like, didn't also France, for example, have one? I'm not actually quite sure, but fairly sure. Didn't they have something for the 200 franc?
Yes, they do. On their voting, on their voting law.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a special amendment.
I guess you can't see it from here.
Yeah, switch to France.
Oopsie.
That's something we should fix, actually, so that you can see that on other countries.
Yeah, exactly. I just realized. I never actually bothered to check it for other countries.
No, let's definitely make a note to fix that when we are done here.
I will.
So self-voting to the left.
Yeah. So here we actually have two amendments, but the one that I had in mind was the upper one, the 200 franc suffrage, which basically increases the effects of the wealth voting as the base law suggests. And makes it harder for people with insufficient wealth to be participating in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can see there's a wide range of things that we can do with these amendments, and we will definitely continue using them in the future. Yeah,
they also have the little bit of a special amendment, which we represented as an amendment. It's not possibly the best way to represent it, but it's the way we have right now, which is tradition of free elections.
Right.
Which ties into the fact that you can now cheat at elections if you don't have a tradition of free elections. And a bunch of countries that do have start with this amendment. If you don't have this amendment, you can get it by essentially not cheating at elections.
Yeah.
But cheating at elections it lets you put your thumb on a scale for whatever party you basically want to win, but it also erodes your people's confidence in the elections over time. So it's a mixed bag, basically.
Exactly.
It is also possible to get rid of the tradition of free elections if you have a terrible enough ruler who would like the elections to not be free, basically.
I can think of a few people there. Yeah. All right, shall we maybe try and enact a law to showcase the
negotiations? Go ahead. Meanwhile, I'm going to answer a question about whether this update will make the game on low-end devices slower or smoother. So obviously, big caveat here that performance is really not a thing where I can say this is going to make it better for everyone, because it tends to be very individual to hardware. But as far as our internal performance monitoring goes, it appears this update does seem to be faster than the previous update. Some of that is optimizations, and some of that is that the sort of overall economic growth and the depeasantfication is slowed a little bit due to various balance changes. Among other things, we have gotten rid of the magic money multiplier on investment money that you would get from having a relatively low GDP, which is an old thing that was supposed to kind of simulate foreign investment. But we have foreign investment, so it's really not necessary anymore, and we decided to get rid of it. So it's a mix, but overall it should be faster, but average. Your experience may vary.
Yeah, exactly. It's really dependent on your setup. Here's actually, I just stopped on this because it's actually showing another feature that we mentioned, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cheating at elections.
Cheating, yeah, exactly. The election fraud. And here you can see how this works. So when you have an election, you can basically choose a side that you want to support or let things go their way.
Yep.
And it's up to you, and this, of course, will have consequences in various fashion.
Yep. I can take another question here, actually, because it's something we have talked about pretty recently. Will there ever be another power structure law to even out that column with the others? So this is just idea level. I'm not promising anything here. But one law that I would really like to see in power structure is essentially how governments are composed. So, for instance, does the monarch have any say? Should the government be automatically composed based on election result? Does the government just exist by decree because you have an autocratic ruler, and so on? I think that would make a really neat power structure law. So that is something I intend to look into in the future, but it is not something I am promising for sure, and it's not something that's coming from 1.12. To be absolutely clear about that.
No, for sure. Last minute, very, very last minute addition, yeah. All right, so let's look at negotiations. So you can see we're trying to enact this law, and it shouldn't go well, at least. And then we have this new option here to negotiate with the IGs.
Yep.
So the different interest groups have also different levels of willingness, which is the amenability value that you can see here. And based on these, basically they are either open to negotiations or not. And in this case, for example, the Catholic Church is willing to talk to us.
But the landowners and the rural folk are not.
Exactly. And what this can do, if the IG in question is indifferent, it means that they will flip to support your law enactment. And if they're opposing you, they will drop that opposition and basically become neutral, which is already like a big step up, of course.
Let's try it. Let's see what they want.
So let's engage with the Catholic Church here. So they will also always offer you a couple of options. You don't have to take any of those, but it depends on the amenability value, also what kind of, like, how they are, how strong the effects are. So for example, here they want you to pass another law in addition.
Yeah, they want you to roll back the economy to a guild system, which, or like, not the economy specifically, but like labor laws.
Yeah.
Which you probably do not necessarily want to do.
No.
Especially with the way it works in 1.12, because there's some changes to laws like guild system where they will result in buildings actually expanding themselves rather than being expanded by financial districts and manor houses, which is good for SOL but not good for your investment pool. So unless you're just SOL maxing and don't want more economic growth, guild system is going to be a bit of a hamper.
Yeah. As it should be. But so this would basically open another kind of like a government petition, like something for you to complete. And you see there's a time frame of like 7 years and 6 months here, in which you would need to pass. Or, if you fail, as it's written here, it would significantly radicalize the Catholics. So what other options do we have? Here, for example, it is increasing the standard of living.
That is a tall promise, I will say.
Yeah, that is indeed a tall promise.
But I mean, I can see that making sense from the perspective of the church. They do care a little bit about their flock.
About the people. Yeah, exactly.
Or you can just offer them at the top administrative positions, right? You can just or you can just do a corruption.
Yeah, exactly.
That is also always an option, to just go, hey, you know what? Yeah. I'll just give you guys something nice, and if you support me.
Yeah, exactly.
Always, the classics.
Yeah, really, you can't beat the classics. But you can also leave this alone, say like, okay, I'm going to end the negotiation here, and basically suffer some minor hit, but it's definitely not the end of the world if you do that.
Yeah. So I'm gotten a few questions now about law variations versus law amendments. What's the difference? How do you envision using them in the future? So the way we see it is law variations is very much when there is a kind of a fundamental local variant, like the manorialism system instead of serfdom, like when there is a very big, significant local difference.
The Montenegro laws are also a great example.
Exactly. Whereas amendments, particularly like historical or flavored amendments, are more like the 200 franc law is something that was specifically written in to make sure that relatively conservative governments would come into power. It's not exactly like this is so incredibly French. It's more like this is something that was done in France to try and make sure only the wealthy got a say. Yeah. So I would say that is, generally speaking, how I would perceive the difference, where if it's more of a cultural, regional, local difference, then we probably tend towards a law variant. If it's more of a this was tweaked at some point for a specific reason, then we'll probably go more towards an amendment. And of course, there's a bunch of generic amendments as well, and amendments you get from events and so on that aren't at all necessarily tied to any particular culture, region, or way of life.
Yeah, most amendments, I think, I don't think that's wrong, are basically increasing the power of the IG that asked you to add this amendment.
Yeah.
So this is like let's say the default amendment, and then we have the more specialized one.
Yeah. There's also a question about whether you can just revoke the amendment immediately. The answer is no. We have made it harder to revoke amendments. I can't tell you exactly where the balance will land, but the intent is definitely that you should not just be able to yeet the amendment as a way, like, oh, I'll give you an amendment and then yeet it immediately. That should have bad results.
Yeah, I think it requires like high enough standing with the IG in question.
No, it requires them to not. It requires people who actually want to revoke it.
Right.
Being government, they also requires you to wait a certain time.
Right.
Yeah, there's a few other things to it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's some restrictions there, and of course, as always, we will keep an eye on feedback.
If the consensus after release is it's too easy to revoke amendments, we'll do something about it.
Yeah, exactly. As with all new features.
Yeah. Shall we look at the content maybe?
Sure. Okay. What do you have in mind? Shall we talk about the Carlist War a bit?
Yeah. So of course, let's just talk about briefly which countries are the main focuses. I think most people here probably know, but just, for summary. So Spain is the country with the most content. Portugal also has quite a bit of content. There's quite a lot for Cuba. There's some for the Philippines. Generally, this DLC is very focused on Iberia and Iberian colonies rather than being more all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
So Spain, of course, has the Carlist Wars, as you can see. The conflict between the conservatives and the also conservatives, but less conservatives.
Yes.
I guess the conservatives and the reactionaries is probably how you would characterize it. Like the Cristinos were liberal to a degree for the time, but we would certainly not recognize them as anything but conservative today.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can play as either one. You're going to have an easier time winning if you're playing as the historical victors, which is the Cristinos, aka playing as Spain.
Yeah.
But you can also try to take, Carlist Spain and lead your glorious feudal reactionaries to victory.
Yeah, and something that I've also seen recently, I think yesterday evening, was that you can help either side really by, for example, sending them goods that they need in order to actually, make them favorite.
If you're playing another country, you can definitely put your thumb on the scales.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly didn't really expect it to work like that, but it seems to be working at least to a certain degree, which is very cool.
Yeah, and of course it has the experimental guerrilla war quotation mark mechanic, which is like a thing where we have rolled into journal entry that battles don't actually cause occupation progress in the guerrilla phase of the war, but rather they set you up for the sort of final blitz. Yeah. And this is something that we almost certainly will want to do more with in the future at some point as a mechanic, unless it's like general consensus of you guys is it just sucks. But for now, it's just an experiment. Very much like the Montenegro raiding, I would say. I think this is a really good way for us to try out how these things feel in our war system before we fully commit to them.
Yeah, exactly. And so, for example, here in this first phase of the Carlist Wars, it's really just about winning these battles, and then the scores increase. And then depending on the score, when it escalates to a full war, both sides will gain some modifiers that increase their chances.
We're being asked if it's feasible to play as the Carlist starting in 1836. I would say yes. It's not super easy, but you can definitely win if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a little ahistorical, honestly. They were pretty cooked by 1836. Yeah. But we decided that there's really no point having them on the map if it's completely predetermined if they lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So we will, we tweaked a little bit so that I think in my ideal world, the Carlist, if the player is not involved at all, the Carlist would win maybe 1/4 of the time or something. So that you get some interesting outcomes. And as the Carlist, you can win as long as you understand what to do to make sure your armies keep staying supplied, appoint good commanders, activate good mobilization options, maybe get some foreign aid going, etc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a couple of levers that you can pull for sure.
And of course, there's a bunch of content beyond the Carlist Wars about building the new Spain, deciding what to do with your former colonies in South America, whether you go the historical route of recognizing them to rebuild diplomatic relations, or whether you say, screw you Britain, screw you US, I'm re-establishing Spanish rule of South America, which hopefully should be relatively challenging because we want it to be, but it's of course, this is a pursuit we absolutely wanted to have in the game.
Yeah.
And there's more. So there is a whole lot of Spanish content in general.
Yeah, economic regeneration is a big part as well. There's a lot there. Something that we also have is the new power block identity. Now that I think about it, because it's quite relevant for Spain in particular. So there's this new cultural commonwealth, it's called here. So this is basically the cultural pendant or variant of the religious one. So very much focused on the shared culture of all the members in the block, with the special ability basically to convert them to your culture. Yeah, very cool.
So it exists. Yeah, when I was last playing Spain, I actually went the diplomatic route with South America. Yeah, but then I sort of used that diplomatic leverage to pull them all into my cultural commonwealth, and over time, Spain kind of ruled the South Americas, just
in a different way.
Paper.
Exactly. I mean, that is exactly what Hansi wanted to achieve, pretty much. So I think it's spot on. And of course, this is also usable outside Spain, but maybe the effects of it will be stronger if you have a culture that is shared by many countries.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. This is of course, you can try to spread,
I think it could work for German culture, for example.
I mean, you can try to gloriously spread Albanian culture everywhere.
Yes.
But it will certainly be more challenging. Let's put it like that.
Yes, Albania is a...
Greater Albania.
That's going to be a challenge for sure. But I hope that somebody out there does it and posts on Reddit about it.
Yep. All right. So let's keep talking about content.
Yeah.
So, of course, Portugal also has a whole lot of content.
Yep.
Initially, they have a bunch of things. They had their own version of the Carlist War, essentially, but this was over by 1836. By then, the conservatives and not the reactionaries, like the semi-liberals, had won. But they do have some issues of perhaps not the most sound state finances to deal with. And they also still need to entrench that victory, which is like the second series of JAs for Spain after the Carlist Wars is whoever wins, you will also need to basically entrench or try to upset that victory. So they have some problems to deal with, but they also have a whole lot of content, of course, related to their vast colonial empire in Africa. Let's zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, of course, Portugal is not a small country.
Yeah.
They have, it's not that vast now, but it did grow quite a bit. And, of course, this is what the content relates to is Portugal essentially had a coast-to-coast colonial empire dream of just controlling a big chunk of central southern Africa. And this is, of course, what the content relates to.
Yeah.
There's some other things as well, but they don't have quite as much content as Spain, but still plenty, I would say. They're quite fun to play.
Yeah, I agree. I would say it's maybe I don't know, if 50% of the content is Spain, and Portugal gets another 30 to 35.
Yeah.
And then the rest is split across the others, I would say.
Yeah, with quite a bit on Cuba, actually, as well.
That's fair.
So Cuba is, I would say, the third country that gets quite a lot of content. They also get, 3 states now instead of 1,
exactly.
Which is quite nice.
Just going to mention, of course, as we always do, we've completely reworked many state regions. Cuba benefited largely from this, but also in Spain, we've seen some previously merged states be split into multiple.
Of course, we always, whenever we work on a region, we always look into the state regions, tweak things, resources, etc. So, of course, all of that is here.
POPs, laws, also. And, all that stuff.
Of course, and we also have regional production methods now.
That's true.
And that's very much a Cuba thing. So let's swap to Cuba, actually.
Yeah. Whoops. No, that is actually correct. Let me swap to Cuba. So let's see some plantations, I guess.
Yeah, we can have a look at tobacco plantations because, there is a bunch of new PM for plantations in general, especially dealing with slavery. You can use you can basically produce more sugar and tobacco and so on if you have slaves, at the expense of course, them not having a particularly good time about it and dying. But we also have things like the ability to have, for like this Cuba thing, where you can have some people come read books for your workers as they are rolling cigars, because it's a historical thing and actually significantly contributed to the sort of growth of political consciousness in Cuba, because you would have these guys with ideas standing around reading socialist tracts and stuff like that to cigar rolling guys who were like, you know what? Rolling cigars all day does suck a little bit. Maybe I should cease the means from my production.
Yeah. Yeah, a very interesting idea that they would allow this. If I was in charge, I'm not sure I would. But
I don't think they were paying enough attention.
Yeah, maybe
like that.
Maybe.
We also have for coffee. We now have the differences between wet and dry coffee production based.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can.
I think you can just look at
this.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So depending on where you are, it's the first one.
The first one, yeah.
Depending on where you are in the world, you can use either the dry or the wet process. So like the wet process is more productive, but it's only available in certain areas of the world, like essentially the global coffee belt. Yeah,
exactly.
Brazil and so on.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. This is where we use a new feature that's working mostly in the back end, the geographical region, which allows us to define basically any number of states as a region that we can then use to hook content into. And in this case, the content is the PMs. First time that we're using this, and I'm also sure that we will continue to use that in the future for other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
A few more questions. Does Cuba have any companies with prestige goods? There is Cuban cigars now, I'm quite sure.
Yes, exactly. So, we can try and look at those. And I think they not only have one, but maybe even two.
Well, at the very least, I know they have Cuban cigars.
Yeah, they definitely have the cigars. Where are they? No, that's fabrics.
While you find that, I will also look. There's another question. Can you have slave rebellions now? Yes. There is now a angry slave movement, basically, which, if they get powerful enough, will absolutely try to do a slave rebellion. And will be radicalized, essentially, by you treating your slaves very poorly. So that is a danger you have to consider now when you are using the slave exploitation PMs.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was wrong. I think it was just the one. But yeah. Exactly. We have Cuban cigars now, which I know...
as far as I know, we have 5 new prestige goods.
Yes. In total, it's 5, I think. But Cuba only gets 1.
Yes. And the best one, of course, is not in Spain or is not in Iberia.
Okay.
The best new prestige good.
You mean the cigars? Or
No.
Okay. Then I'm not getting the joke.
I mean the games.
Oh,
I mean the games,
of course.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, wow, that was a way off from what I was thinking. Yeah, no, we do have a little secret there that some people have already spotted in our lists, in the dev diaries.
We're being asked if it's possible to harvest conditions to be constrained by geographical regions. I mean, it's definitely technically possible. I'm not sure it would always make sense because it depends on how the region is defined. Like, let's say you split, I don't know, India into 4 regions. It might feel odd if the harvest condition cannot spread out a certain area. But I could also see it making sense that there are certain harvest conditions that could only happen in the humid coffee belt or something like that. So possibly yes. I don't think it's something we've done yet.
Yeah, I can tell you I am working on something without going too much into detail that will make use of this. So basically it allows us a bit more finer control, I would say, for these harvest conditions using this new feature. But I can't say too much yet. But we will definitely make use of it.
We also have support for PMs unlocked by state traits. So other things like we've done some nice new things that should hopefully, like this update in general contains a lot of good stuff for modders. We have a whole very long dev diary about that as well.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh yeah, we have the new global situations as well, of course.
Yes, exactly. The shared journal entries.
I think there's Peru, Bolivia should be just one that's available at the start.
Yeah, let's see if
this is what I lovingly referred to as we have EU5 situations at home.
Yeah, exactly. So this one, you can see all the involved countries in here, and they basically all share this an interest in this journal entry.
Yeah, so basically this is one journal entry, and then which countries are involved and can interact with it can vary and change, rather than everyone has their own Peru-Bolivian Confederation journal entry, and these have to sort of play together. So there's a lot of different things we can do with this. It is, of course, judging by the name, very heavily inspired by EU5 situations, being asked, hey, why don't we have those in Wiki? And me going, I bet I can spend a couple of days, reverse engineer the journal entry system and support pseudo situations. Turns out I could.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it turned out quite nice. And it's definitely something to build on.
We have a few of these now, but it's something we're going to both add more in the future and rework existing ones as we go forward. It's like this one, what's it called? Springtime Nations. It's also a global journal entry now, and so on.
Yeah, exactly. I think those were the ones that we started with, and then we can build on those. As you know, we tend to introduce some features and then build upon them in the next updates and so on.
Well, you're being asked if the infamy bug that content creators talked about is fixed for release. The answer is yes. It is fixed for release.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird one, but it is fixed. Okay. What else do we have that we want to talk about? Maybe the monuments. We should mention the monuments.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So we have some new monuments, which are our variant design of the new building set, because we decided against an Iberian building set and instead focus on something that actually has gameplay effects attached to it. So you have these journal entries with which you experience the build-up of these monuments. For example, the Sagrada Familia you can build in Spain.
In several stages, in fact.
In several stages, exactly. And you can actually complete it and be ahead of schedule.
This is very ahistorical.
Yeah, of course.
Extremely.
Of course it is.
This is probably the most ahistorical thing we have ever done.
Yes. I still don't believe that they're actually going to be done in 2030. So let's see. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so you have these monuments, and then you have also like the Manila Cathedral, for example, which can get destroyed by an earthquake, and then you have to rebuild it and so on. It's there's some fun stuff in there, and we hope to basically see your feedback if you like this kind of like more interactive, like art versus content, you know. Yeah. And then also on the building style, maybe I should mention that we have taken some feedback and are applying the Latin American buildings to Iberia.
Yes.
So this was basically something that came from you guys, and then we were like, that sounds like a good idea. Let's try it out.
And we have also very much heard you about just wanting more building sets in general. And this is something we will definitely keep in mind going forward.
Yeah, of course. We will continue to produce them whenever we feel like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Like we experiment, we try out different things.
Exactly.
And not everything lands as we had hoped.
Yeah.
But when that happens, we listen and we make adjustments.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
What else? Oh, maybe the UI skin, I should mention.
Oh no, you need to show the map. You need to show the timeline. It's so
the actual map. You mean? Yeah.
So we actually have two new maps. In a sense, it's mostly the same map, but it varies based on whether you're playing Portugal or whether you start the game as Portugal or Spain. This would be presumably the Spanish one because it started Spain, and it shows the time like a timeline of the country along the bottom. So now it should be showing the history of Spain, and if you're playing Portugal, it should be showing the history of Portugal, have things in Portuguese, and so on, because this is very much both the Spain DLC and the Portugal DLC, so we didn't just want to say, we're just doing Spain.
Yeah, and a small little detail that we also did, we changed these names for like the oceans to be the Portuguese or the Spanish version, which is very cool, something that our artists were keen to do. Yeah. And as always, they've done a lovely job, in my opinion, of putting some nice artworks into these maps.
We've also made some changes to Africa, because one of our content designers is very passionate about redrawing African borders.
Yes, exactly.
So South Africa is actually a lot more historical now. Transvaal and Orange are gone because they did not actually exist in 1836. You can zoom in a little bit more, I think.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Just like that, exactly.
Yep.
So we have a bunch of new Boer states, and we have some new content related to essentially unifying the Boer states and building Transvaal and Orange or your own Boer state configuration.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, Mike is has spent a lot of his free time essentially while working on CK to work with us, and now
it's cool stuff. Yeah, exactly. and he's actually in chat saying, and the Griccas, yes. There's also content related to the Griccas.
Right.
So yes, that's also, I told you, it's side quest.
Yes.
Side quest autumn and side quest winter, basically. That is what we did in the second half of this year.
Yeah.
And then now we'll be getting back to the main quest.
Yeah, I'm happy that all of you are joining me now on my eternal quest here. Yeah, no, very nice.
Foghorn intensifies.
Yeah, exactly. But I did want to show actually at least briefly the UI skin also, because I do think it's
beautiful.
It is
gorgeous.
Stunning.
As always, the artist did an amazing job.
Yes, the art team is knocking it out of the park every time. I'm really in love with this, and it's my favorite skin to date for sure. And I will be using this extensively. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're actually on the Portuguese map now, but I think we're playing Bolivia right now because it's because we switched to Portugal a little while ago, so that should be why.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I mean, I know we did a whole bunch of other things for this patch, but it's always the question of remembering exactly what, because we've been, or at least you've been mainly on more long-term things, but I at least have been just living in this patch for the last few months. So it's like, what was National Awakening? Like, what was 1.10 and what was 1.12 again?
Coups were a thing that was reworked.
Yeah, of course. We reworked coups entirely. So that they are now based around military commanders. It's a military commander trying to seize power. And also we made it a free feature. It used to be part of Voice of the People.
Yeah.
And in exchange, we made it so that Voice of the People unlocks a bunch of new coup flavor things that are otherwise only available in Iberian Twilight.
Yeah, exactly. Also we did some changes here, made Gibraltar smaller. Morocco got some
received
updates.
quite the overhaul. Tripoli no longer has very old borders. And the Fezzan Rebellion is there. Shout out to any Legend of Galactic Heroes fans.
And Morocco also got some content, actually. Yeah. Now that I remember.
Yep. About establishing power over the very decentralized Sultanate of Morocco.
Yeah, exactly. So what do we have any questions in chat? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm also gonna look quickly to see if we have confirmation about the patch being up. We have people talking about the patch being up, but we do not have official confirmation. So we will continue for now.
Yeah. Italy content when? To be determined. We'll see. It always has to align with our general plans, of course.
Oh, and we just got the confirmation. We are being told by Pelly that Iberian Twilight and update 1.12 is live.
Awesome.
I'm not really seeing any questions that are not
Maybe
been answered.
Update when?
Foghorn.
I don't know.
Foghorn.
It's hard to say.
We really need to foghorn button here.
Yes, exactly.
I am very upset about the lack of a foghorn button. Yeah. But with that said, with the update being out, we're going to call it an end here. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you soon. Have fun, hopefully.
Enjoy. Bye-bye.